Testing, 1, 2. Testing. Hey guys, this is Bruce of Convocourses, and today I got a lot of questions about people wanting to break into cybersecurity compliance, and I'm just going to give my 2 cents on what I would do if I was in your position. These techniques have worked for me, but you may have different results than me, so just keep that in mind. And if nothing else, just take it with a grain of salt. This stuff it's location specific, so wherever possible, I'll inform you on where and whether or not your location is conducive to this type of it. Does it have these kinds of positions? That's another thing that you can consider. All right, so just before I start, you should know that I have a bunch of courses mainly in cybersecurity for security compliance, risk management framework, but I do have a bunch of stuff that talks about how to get into the career field and how to get like remote positions, how to get more money in these positions, things like that is what I mostly talk about. But let's get into this. My first question is, somebody asked me, cyber analyst jobs. They're fresh out of college. They said, this was coming from TikTok. They said, hi, any advice on a career path to a cyber analyst? I've just completed my diploma in cybersecurity and need advice next. Okay, so first of all, cyber analyst. So that position, that job title means many things to many different organizations. For example, some cyber analyst positions are where you're in a SOC, security operations center, and you're monitoring traffic coming in and out of the network, and you're looking for like security incidents, like you're looking for potential hackers or somebody trying to do brute force attack something. But then another cyber analyst position might just be in title alone, and you're not really analyzing anything. You're really more of a consultant. I've been in positions where they call me a cyber analyst, but really I'm a consultant talking about risk management framework or something. Or I'm a cyber analyst and I'm looking at security compliance. I'm looking at their documentation stuff. So let's just define that term real quick. So cyber analyst means many different things to many different organizations. You'll be doing different things doing that. Okay. Now that being said, how do you break into cybersecurity, period, is a better question. How to get into this field if you're fresh out of college. And he says he has a diploma, maybe you have a bachelor's degree in cybersecurity with a specialty in networking, whatever it is, right? Master's degree, associate's degree, whatever it is. So what I would do if I was fresh out of college, now I have 20 years of experience. I've been doing this for a very long time, but I could tell you the thing that they look for the most is experience. Experience really is above all things. It's above your diploma. It's above if you get a certification. Those things help. Those things are great. And some diplomas work more than others. Some, just like some certifications, work better than others. But the thing that's going to be the best that you can get is your experience. So how do you get the experience is the first thing. Well, number one, if you've gone through this course, if you have your diploma, more than likely you've done some kind of labs, or maybe you've helped the college set up networks, or you've helped some organization set up their network. You could put that kind of stuff on your resume, right? So you gotta put this stuff, any kind of work you've done, any experience, any hands-on experience, anything whatsoever. Any documentation that you've made, any kind of processes you've written, any kind of work instructions you've done, all that, put that in your resume. A lot of times people don't know what level of security that they've actually done. They've actually done a lot, but they don't put it on their resume because they don't know what they've done. All right, now what I would do is I would go to Career Builder or go to your favorite job aggregator, or better yet, go to all of them. And look for a cybersecurity intern job. So what I looked up here is a cybersecurity intern. They do have them, especially for young college students or older college students, people with a degree, diploma, master's degree, bachelor, whatever, associate's degree, whatever. And they're usually not going to hire you for this amount, $81,000. I would imagine, but this is saying it, apparently it's the national average. This is coming from Career Builder. Take it with a grain of salt. You're probably not going to get this much as an intern with zero experience, just to let you know. But I looked this up, and there are internship jobs for the summer, and they're probably not going to pay super well, right? But what you're trying to do is you're trying to level up. You got to get that experience on your resume. So this is an internship job. They're looking for college students. Let's kind of look at if they have any qualifications. With these job aggregators, what you want to do in your position is you want to look for, let me just make this a little bit bigger. You're going to look for what they're looking for, right? Because you don't have a lot of experience, so you're not trying to be in a senior level position. You're not trying to get in a position where they want 3 years of experience plus a security plus, or you don't have that stuff, right? So you want an entry level internship position where they are not looking for candidates to have a lot of experience. Like qualifications, look at this. So this right here is telling you we want either a bachelor's degree or master's degree in IT, in one of the IT disciplines, and then they list them out, right? And you notice here, look at this. I want you to notice this, math. They also sometimes will accept any of the sciences, any STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. They normally will take any of those degrees, and a master's or a bachelor's degree, in some cases associate's degree. They want somebody with the technical discipline that will. They know that you can learn this IT stuff pretty fast. You know, they want you to kind of be a geek. But anyway, other related engineering degrees, right? So you don't even have to have a computer science, You don't even have to have a cybersecurity degree, but that actually is really good for you. That's going to help you out. Okay, so they're also looking for. You've had training. So they didn't say experience. You've had training with Java, C++, or they didn't say or, they say and net. So that's what you do. Go to the qualifications, see if you qualify for it, and look through that. Look for internships, cybersecurity internships. They're usually looking for a college student who's been doing this for a while. And look at this. This is for Ernst & Young, which is one of the big four companies out there for the financial sector. The other ones are, man, I can't help me out if you guys are watching me. Ernst & Young, and then there's Charles Schwab, I think, and then there's, there's a big one. There's four top ones, but if you can get this on your resume, that would be awesome. Another thing you can do is look for entry level. Like look for internships and entry level, and remember, The goal is not to make a super high amount of money. The goal is to get that experience under your belt. And the more experience they give you, especially if you get in a position and they have a mentorship program, like they're mentoring you, they're showing you Linux and how it's implemented in a production environment, and they're allowing you to touch their firewall, they're allowing you to touch their IPS, their IDS systems, like that is huge. Put that stuff on your resume. Every day that you go through, put that stuff on your resume. Okay, so here's another. I just typed in cybersecurity entry level. This is on Career Builder, but you can do the same thing with Simply Hired. You can do it with Indeed.com. You can do it with LinkedIn. All of those sites have something like this. So entry level, let's see, security analyst. Entry level normally requires some kind of experience. Some like maybe a year or two of experience. If you don't have it, like I said, internships is where you want to start off. That's what I would do if I was in your position, like with no experience. Go straight to qualifications. Look at this. It says cybersecurity degree. So this is you right here from accredited university. Ability to handle multiple assessments at one time. Strong analytical skills. So they're not asking for any experience. Yeah, this right here might be something you can get into. Let's see what they're paying. Oh, they're not showing it. But it's a security analyst position. So to answer your question, how do you get advice on how the career path to get to a cyber analyst job? Right now, you just want to get your foot in the door. So that should be your main concern. Get your foot in the door so that you can then maneuver yourself to a cyber analyst or cyber engineering or cyber, and then start leveling up from there. That's what I would do if I was fresh out of college and out of cyber security degree. And I hope that helps for you guys. All right, next question I had was, and if you guys happen to jump on here, feel free to ask me any questions. I don't really have an agenda today. I'm just going to be answering questions. I just prepared a bunch of questions. This is another TikTok question. Actually, it's a comment. I was promoting the PMP, and I forgot what the name of the PMP was, but it's a Project Management Professional Certification, PMP. Once you get the certification under your belt, this is a non-technical certification, but a lot of times you're working with engineers, you're working with scientists, you're working with technical IT people, we're working with cybersecurity people, but it's not technical really. You just need to know how to do the project management profession, and that's what you need. So this is actually really good, and it pays really good. So I put on here the actual pay that they have, and as you can see, let me see if I can make this a little bit, see if I can make this bigger here for you so you guys can see this. It pays really good. Like if you're trying to get into this field, you need a job, maybe you're a teacher, they're not treating teachers good, right? They don't get paid a lot. They're having to get unions to try to get more money. They're not getting treated well, right? So I get a lot of teachers contacting me who are trying to move out of the career field because they're not respected. They're not paid well. I mean in the public sector, probably in private schools it's different. I don't know, but I know in a lot of districts, a lot of administrators even feel like they're not treated right. So they're coming to me and saying, "Hey, how do I get in this field? What do I do?" So, and I just tell them, "Hey, do you have any IT experience?" Sometimes they're like, "Yeah, I mean a little." Like I helped set up the wireless at our job. I said, "Put it in your resume. Put it in your resume, any kind of IT experience." But if they say, "I have no IT experience, but I really want, this is just not working for me. They don't pay us enough. We're treated like trash. Now all this political stuff is happening. I just want to do my job, and they're telling me what to teach and what not to teach. Like they're the teachers and I have to raise their badass kids. I'm trying to change, right?" I get these questions. I get these comments. And they just want to work. Like after a while, you just don't want the extra pressure from society's changes as a teacher or whatever career path, and they want to go into IT, something more technical, something more, detached. PMP, if you're trying to get into this field, like you're not really you don't have a technical background, but you're trying to get paid, you want a steady paycheck, you want a secure job, they need a lot of project managers. This is known as a Project Management Professional Certification, a PMP, and this dude is saying, I believe it's called a Project Management Professional. Many who have acquired the PMP designation can become program managers, right? It's interchangeable. I've seen some called project managers, program managers. Normally we call them PMs, right? So, but it's all the same. What they do now, look at this salary range, 80,000 to 6 figures. What do they do on a daily basis? So what they do is they manage the projects. You have these gigantic projects, and they have a Gantt chart, or it's like a spreadsheet that like marks all the times that each milestone is supposed to be complete. So like say this first step milestone is to buy all the servers and the routers. The second step is for the network team to connect the routers together to create the network and the VLANs. The next step is to put the server team, the server administrator team comes in and they do their part. So each one of those parts, they're only focused on their little part. Like the network guys, all they know is routers, right? They don't even know how to brush their teeth. All they know about is routers. That's it. Routers, IP routes, IP chains, IP. That's all they know. They don't know anything. They don't know how to do anything else. They don't even know how to tie their shoes. They don't know how to go. They don't know how to drive cars. They can't do anything but routers. They're like a human computer, right? And then your system administrator guys, they know everything, right? They know everything apparently. So they could probably do anything because they're gods, right? They just know everything. They're like a 5-year-old kid. They know everything. They're like a teenager. They know everything. But your project manager, what they do is they make sure everybody is in line. Like, okay, hey, software team, we're not done yet. We got to get the servers in. Server team, you can't do that stuff yet. We got to get the network started. They've just put in the VLANs. That's kind of what they do. They just manage. They do a lot of meetings. They're all probably 90% of their job is meetings, and they're pulling all of these different subject matter experts in and then having them do their part. Now, they don't really need to know your job necessarily. They just need to know what you do, what you connect the network. That's you're a network engineer. Your job is to do the network. They already know you, and then the actual subject matter expert tells them, "Here's my tasks. We have to get the IPs. We get those from the IP organization. Then we have to create. We've got to upload the iOS on the Cisco routers and make sure that they can talk to the Juniper routers. Then the next step is, they tell you as the program manager what they're going to do, and you're like writing that stuff down, and you're putting it on your Gantt chart, and then you're tracking all the stuff that needs to be done. And then every week you're like, okay, where are you guys at, network team? All right, cool. You guys are done. Now the system administrators are going to come in. They're going to do their part. That's what you do as a program manager. It pays really good. So I would highly recommend, if you're trying to get into this field, that's one of the things you can do. Okay, mom of 4 just said, hi, I have a college degree in cybersecurity and computer networking, but I don't have any certifications yet. Do I still have a chance? Can I still have a chance? Also, how do I go beyond a phone interview? Okay. Let me see if I can answer this one. I kind of was answering this one here. But I can expand on this. I know a lot about the interview process. I've done this. I've conducted interviews. I've been a part of many interviews, many different types of interviews. I've failed interviews. I've blown interviews out the water. I've got some experience with this. So it says, I have a college degree in cybersecurity and computer networking. Okay, congratulations. That's good. Do you have experience? Would be my next question, right? Let's say this was an interview right here. Right? The first thing I'm going to want to know as the screener, because that's usually the first person you talk to in the interview process, is the actual technical recruiter or the screener, because they're just trying to see if you have qualifications to meet this particular job. Right? That's the first thing that they're going to do. They're going to say, they're just looking if you have experience. That's great. You have a degree, but have you have a computer networking degree? Have you worked on a network before, right? They want to know, how many years have you done that? Cybersecurity, like what kind? Did you work on a firewall? Did you work on a SIEM? They're going to want to know what you've done. Now, that said, if you don't have a lot of experience, which a lot of people, now, here's the thing. We need people to do this job. Like, there's not enough of us. There's not enough. What happens with us cybersecurity people is they pile all kinds of work on us because there's not enough people doing this. So you can find a job. You don't let anybody tell you there's no jobs out there for what we do. There's so many. As a matter of fact, like I said, we have too much jobs. We have too much scope in our jobs, scope creep. They just keep piling more and more and more work on us because there's not enough people to do this work. So what I would do in your position is just like I told Richard, is I would look if you don't have experience, look for an internship. It does not going to pay a super high amount, but look for an internship. If you have a degree, especially if you have a degree, go for it. Now, don't let this $81,000 amount fool you. I don't know what the national average is for an intern. It could be that high. I don't know. But I could tell you this. If you go to Ernst & Young, like these right here are all internships. All these are internships, right? Well, some of them are not. So I think, okay. Well, let's just go to this one. Ernst & Young is a pretty good company. Well, actually, this is Mohawk. But this is an internship as well. That's not the one I was trying to click on, by the way. I was trying to go to Ernst & Young is a very good company. If you put this on your resume, if you work with these guys for like a few months or a year, you put this on your resume, just their name alone is a keyword. There's certain companies like that, Microsoft, especially if you're a software guy, Google, Oracle. There's just certain industries that really look for certain positions. Ernst & Young is in the financial sector. So if you put this on your resume, a lot of other financial institutions are going to say, "Whoa, they worked at Ernst & Young's. They know what kinds of servers we have. They're going to see you, to put you on a pedestal." So what I would do if I was you, mom of 4, is it's not about certifications right now. At this point, you can get a certification. I'm not telling you not to get one. You can get one. Security Plus, I would highly recommend that one. But What you really need is experience, okay? Focus on experience. Get that internship if you can. Look in your local area for some sort of cybersecurity internship, or even a internship at a help desk, because actually help desk or any kind of customer service IT job is going to still get you some level of experience that you could put on your resume. And then a lot of times you're doing troubleshooting for security issues. You're doing network troubleshooting. You're doing basic security stuff, but you can put all that stuff on your resume. Focus on experience, not necessarily the certification. Once you build up your experience, you put that on your resume, you'll nail the interviews, because they're really, in the interview process, they're looking for experience, not necessarily the degree. In IT, you get these guys who have been to Harvard or Yale or Ivy League or whatever. You know what college I went to? I went to University of Phoenix. It's a legitimate college. That's all I'll say about that. But yeah, I worked at NASA. Right now I'm working at a major company. I can't say it because I think they're probably watching me. I worked for DOD. Now I am a vet. I was in the military for a long time, so that carries a lot of weight. But my degree is from University of Phoenix. Like, they're not looking at my degree. They want to University of Phoenix and laugh me out the interview. They don't care, right? As long as it says BS IT or BSIS or BS Cybersecurity with computer networking, whatever. It's like, okay, check the box. Next. Do you have any certifications? No. Okay, what's your experience like? What kind of experience do you have in I see you have networking on your resume here. Have you worked with Juniper routers before? Or what kind of, okay, you've worked with Cisco routers, all right. What kind of networks have you worked with? Have you worked with, because our client is working with WANs. Have you worked with WANs before? They work with a lot of WANs and VLANs. So have you worked with those before? Like, they'll ask you questions like that. So it's very specific to their organization. Now, when you do apply for these internships, go down to qualifications. Go down to qualifications and see if you can apply for it, right? You're gonna make sure that you can apply. But in this one right here, I don't believe this one had any prerequisites as far as experience, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for zero experience, but definitely put anything that you have on your resume. I hope that answers your question. Experience. That's why you're not getting past the interview. That would be my guess. Or maybe I'm wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. We'll keep talking about it. All right, I'm gonna move on to the next topic. Somebody's asking me. Deep C6 says, "What if you have experience but you're not a great interviewer?" Oh yeah, okay, I got you on this one. Are there websites to bone up on security interview questions? Wow. So this one I have mastered. Okay, let me tell you something. If you have the experience but you don't have the interview chops, let me tell you what you do. Okay, let me see if I can switch screens on this one, because we need to be face to face on this one. Can you guys still hear me? Test, test, test. Do I have an echo, double voice or anything? I kind of mess that up sometimes. Okay, let me explain what you do. Practice. You write down an outline. First of all, you have to interview them first. Okay, you get the job, right? Let's say it's Ernst & Young. It's this job that I brought up on the screen here, right? It's Ernst & Young. Let me show you what you're going to do. You're going to interview them first. You're going to go to their job description. Check this out. You're going to go to their job description. You're going to look at the overview of their company. What is their company all about? How many people do they have? 300,000 people. What do they do? Oh, they're in the financial sector. They do assurance, consulting, strategizing. They do taxes. Okay. Overview. What kind of benefits do they have, right? You want to know all these things. You're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. Okay? So very first thing you want to do before the interview is look at them. You may not want to work there. You're interviewing them. Okay? They're interviewing you, yes, but you're interviewing them. You don't want to work somewhere with a bunch of scrubs. You don't want to work, even worse, you don't want to work somewhere where the company doesn't take care of you, which happens a lot in IT, unfortunately, right? Because they're just trying to get that bag, the companies. They really don't care about humans. I'll tell you that right now. It's going to be there's slim pickings out there. There's not that many great companies. They're rare. That said, you're trying to get that money, so you're willing to put up with quite a bit. Read through their job description. Okay? Read through their job description. Let me show you. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to go this MailChimp migration specialist. And let me show you what I do. I interview them. So I'm like, okay, their compensation is $39 an hour to $45 an hour. Okay, it's a web developer. All right, I can deal with that. It's Robert Half. Okay, I'm reading through everything. What kind of experience? Experience caring for technical needs of the site, apps, and integration volume. Okay. Fluency with graphic illustrations and user interfaces, usability principles. All right, I can do that. So as I'm reading through what they want, their requirements and their experience that they want, I'm prepping myself. Okay, when have I done that? Right. So for example, if it says right here, practical knowledge of HTML, CSS, I'm like, well, damn, I've written hundreds of thousands of lines of code. I've written hundreds and dozens of sites that have HTML and CSS. That's my specialty. So I can tell them how I developed a site for Ernst & Young last year. I could tell them, I'm thinking of this in my head. I'm thinking, okay, what can I say? And what you want to do sometimes, sometimes it's a real intense interview. This last job I had, they gave me like 4 different interviews, and I got to the point where I was going to talk to the technical guy. So I was a little nervous. So what I did was I looked at their job description, right? And then what I did was I wrote notes. I created notes on what I was going to say on all the experience that they were going to ask me. They were going to ask me about risk management framework because they had that in their list. And then they had PCI compliance. And I already knew what I was going to say. I'd never done PCI at that point before, but I knew what I was going to say. And then actually I studied up on it. I was like, PCI compliance. Let me bone up on that. So I just went online and started reading about it. I was like, okay, I understand it. I'm not going to lie to them and tell them I've done it before, but I'll tell them I'm familiar with it. I understand what it is. PCI compliance is the credit. It's a framework to help protect the credit card industry's devices, right? I know what it is. So when they ask me that question, I'll be ready. Once I write down my notes on how they're going to ask what's on your resume, all right, you already know your resume, so you might want to read through it just to kind of refresh your memory. But also they're going to ask you specifically what you see here. The stuff that they're really requiring you to do, the things that they really want you to do, they're going to ask those questions. Prepare yourself. Take notes on what you've done for HTML, CSS, and all the experience. Like I made a page for Ernst & Young. I helped Google create their main page. I helped Facebook create their meta site. I helped, put that stuff down, or you assisted, or you developed it, or whatever, and then be ready to speak on it. Be ready by practicing. Practice the interview, what you're going to say. If they ask you this question, what are you going to say? If they ask you, there's certain questions they're going to ask you, right? They basically have already given you the answers to the test. They gave you the questions, They gave you the questions to the test in advance. And that's the job description. Get the job description and their company overview first, and then interview them, right? Interview them. Go through the questions that they're going to ask you. They're going to ask you for all the requirements that they have in the job description and the preferred stuff that they have in the job description. You have the answers to the test. Write it down. Write down your experience on those things. If you don't know it, say, well, I don't know, but I'll find out. I don't know, but I'll be interested in getting to this field. I've never worked with a SIEM before. I've never worked with a firewall, but I really want to work with one. I've been anxious to work with one, or I worked with one before, but it wasn't, we had a Sidewinder firewall. It wasn't an ASA or what. It wasn't right, stuff like that. Practice makes perfect. You practice it over and over again so that way the nervousness goes right into, it goes into a baseline of what you've already practiced. And you're just like that, right? And if they don't take you, it's on them. Here's another thing I'll tell you about the interview. Like I said, you're interviewing them. So once they go through the interview, they're going to ask you, do you have any questions for me? Have questions for them. Is there any travel? Right? These are things you want to know. You have kids. You don't want to be away from your kids a lot. How much travel is there? Is there travel? Do you have a relocation package? Do you guys have any flex time? Do you guys have like remote work at all throughout the week? Do you guys, so what's the salary range? If you got to do your research, you should already know the salary range. Okay. So you shouldn't even have to ask. If you're not on that part of the interview yet, don't ask. Let them tell you. But you want to do all your homework and then ask them questions. Your homework should be so thorough that you ask them questions. When they say, do you have any questions for me? Ask them questions, because you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. I hope that helps. Practice the interview. Research their company before you even do the interview. That's what I would do. I'm pretty good at interviews. All right. Hope that helps. I'm going to move on to the next question here. Let me see here. Mama 4 says, I specialize in risk management framework. I have 3 years of experience with risk management framework. And your original question was, I have a college degree, a network, but I don't have any certifications yet. Can I still have a chance to on the phone interview? Yeah, you do. So great news. I have great news for you, Mama 4. So if you already have experience, with risk management framework, I have some really, really good news for you. One of the biggest hurdles that I get on this channel is people trying to get into cybersecurity or specifically risk management framework, and they have no experience. They have no experience, and they're like, yeah, I want to get into this. It sounds like fun. Like, yeah, it sounds like fun. This person really has no, if risk management framework sounds like fun to you, you have zero experience. No offense. Anyway, it pays good, but it's a pretty stable job, but man, it's not fun. I mean, it's not, maybe I'm just old. I don't know, but it's not fun. Anyway, I want to show you what you need to do next. If you have experience and you feel like you're not doing well on the interview, I have a pretty good video out there about specifically how to interview for the risk management framework. What I say, what I do, it's gotten pretty popular, and I've gotten a few other people in the cybersecurity field coming to me and say, wow, Bruce, this was a magnificent video. I love this video. I played it in front of my class. I'm flattered, right, to get that kind of response. But I want to show you that item here. I'm looking for it right now, so bear with me. It's called Interview. Now, I actually gave this. It's an exclusive. It wasn't exclusive for my students. I released it, and it's done really well because it just kills, man. It's just spot on how to nail an interview. Let me show you what this video is called. If you go to my site, in fact, I should probably show you how I found this. Actually, if you go to YouTube and you type in risk RMF ISSO questions, you type that, you'll find it. But let me show you my screen real quick. I really wish I had my mouse here. That would be a lot faster. Yeah, here it is right here. Here it is right here. You go to YouTube, type in RMF ISSO interview questions, and this is part 1. I broke it up into like 3 parts. It's pretty long. But here it is right here. And it's me talking about the interview process, start to finish, mainly focusing. I talk a little bit about cybersecurity, but the main focus is on, so excuse this ad here. The main focus is on risk management frameworks. So this should help you out quite a bit. If you're struggling with the interview process, what you need to do is, first of all, understand their process. The organization has a process. Normally they have a screener, right? The screener doesn't know anything. They get in there. They really don't know. They're just like a headhunter. They're reading from a list of things, right? And if you hit all those things Cool. They send you to the next interview. You normally have at least 3 interviews for risk management framework. Okay. I can't speak on other ones. I've had more, I've had less, but it's normally average is about 3. So now let me explain. So you have 3 different interviews. The first one's a technical recruiter. They don't know anything. They don't know your job. One of them is going to be a manager. The manager is kind of trying to see like what your mindset is. What do you want? What can they give you what you want? Are you a good fit for this organization? They're looking at like, is this going to work out, right? Are you willing to travel? Like stuff like that, right? So they want to know if you're a good fit for this organization. So that's the kind of questions they'll ask. They might ask you like temperamental questions like, have you ever dealt with difficult customers? Or we have 5 clients. Can you handle 5 clients? They'll ask you things like that. They're going to give you a good gauge. They're the best person to ask when you're interviewing them, by the way. They're one of the best people to ask, the managers, because they really know. They're going to know your salary range. They're going to know all those things in their head. They have a real good idea of the landscape that you're about to get yourself into. So that's the second person. Sometimes they have you interview the manager last. Sometimes it's the second person. It's rarely the first in my experience. It's usually the second or the third or last person, right? So the one person that you probably going to have to worry about a little bit that you got to be on your game is the technical recruiter. I mean, the technical person that's going to interview you. This person is going to ask you things like, well, can you describe to me the cybersecurity framework for the NIST, right? They're going to ask you stuff like, they're going to ask you specific questions that they expect you to know. And if you don't know it, they're going to go back. They're going to be like, well, thank you for your time. They're going to go back to the manager and be like, this isn't the person we want. Because they're trying to work with somebody who's going to help them. They're carrying a load. This technical person that you're talking to, they're carrying a load. They're like, yo, we need somebody here that's going to help us here. Like, we can't have a scrub. I don't have time to teach somebody the basics of risk management framework. I need somebody who can hit the ground running. If I'm going to train them, they need to learn fast because they're under this huge amount of pressure because there's so much scope creep in this field. It's very stressful, and that's why they pay us so much, because there's so much going on in this field. So anyway, what you want to do is check out this video I have up here. There's 3 different ones that you want to do. Practice the interview. Again, go to the site with the job description, go through all of the requirements, and then see where you meet their requirements and make notes for yourself. This is what I do for myself. It's worked every time. I'm really good at interviews because of this. I'm very good at interviews because of this, right? Anyway, so I go through their requirements and their preferred, and I say, how have I done this before, right? If they're asking for ISSO 27002, they're like, they want that experience. I'll write it down. Like, have I done that? No, I haven't done that. We want SOC 2 experience. Have I done that? Sarbanes-Oxley. Have I done Sarbanes-Oxley before? I've done that one. SOC 2, no, not. I did it once, right? But I'll put that interview. So then I'll practice with myself. I'll just be there and I'll go through the questions and out loud. I'll practice with my notes. That they're gonna ask you these questions. I see it like this. Whenever they give you the job description, they're giving you the questions on the test. You have some time to look at the questions that are going to be on the test and answer them. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just basically you telling them your experience. Don't need to be nervous. There's plenty of fish in the sea. If they don't take you, somebody else will, right? That's the attitude you have to have. You're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. They might offer you the job and you just turn it down because you got a better offer. Now, for those of you who are interested, I'm not going to do a hard sell here, but I do have a course about how to break into this. I basically tell you guys what I've been doing. I've been working in this field for over 20 years, and I've been doing this method that's allowed me to get jobs consistently in any kind of economy. Remember 2008 when everything collapsed? I got a raise. I made more money at that time. I know that's crazy, but it's because I implemented this method of marketing myself. I'm looking for that course right now. I have a course where it talks about how to market yourself. Here it is right here. This is one of my best courses. It doesn't sell that well, but it's one of my best. Like, this is how I'm always employed. There hasn't been a time in my adult life that I haven't been employed, and it's because I implemented this right here. I basically all this course is, let me just tell you, honestly, all I did was I was thinking to myself, I get a lot of people asking me how to get into cybersecurity. How did I get into cybersecurity? And I started thinking, well, I market myself. That's why. Okay, what do I do? What's my first step? What did I do here? What did I do there? I just went down my whole process and wrote and put it all in a video session. There's videos, there's walkthroughs of how to use some of this stuff. And every now and then what I do is if you purchase it, I'll go through and I'll update this stuff. There's no extra charge for that, obviously. And there's tons of free stuff in here as well. There's free previews. If you watch it and you're like, nah, this isn't for me, that's cool. That's cool. But it's basically telling you everything that I've done. If you don't have the money to do it right, no problem. Go on my website, or go on Convocourses.com and then search for jobs. All right, here's how you do it. Go to the main page, ConvoCourses, right here, right? Go here, see this little search bar? Type in jobs. I got actual jobs that you can apply for, but also how to find jobs. You can type in how to. Let me see. I got a bunch of how-tos. How to find a job. How to find a job in the U.S. as an immigrant or non-immigrant. How to study for IT certifications. There's a ton of how-tos on remote work, on telework. There's tons of free stuff here. If you just don't have the money, I understand times are tough, right? So you don't have to buy the course. And actually, there's tons of free stuff in the course, right? You can sign up for free and download some stuff and get some stuff there. But it's a really good course, so I highly encourage you to do it. I hope that helps you with your interview process. That's what I've done. It's really worked for me. Over the years, I've not been without a job, and I can get a job within days, but if I'm picky, so it usually takes me about a month or so to get the job I really want, with the pay I want and where, remote work, all that kind of stuff that I want. So you can do it, guys. You can do it. Somebody says, Easy says, sometimes I like to do interview phone screens for fun just to get a good sense of the type of questions I'm going to get down the line. Yeah. So, yeah, the reason why I know the questions that they're going to ask, like if you watch that video that I did some years ago, I know the questions because I interviewed a lot of people. I was in the process of interviewing people for these jobs, for risk management framework and for IT and cybersecurity jobs, cyber analyst jobs, cybersecurity analyst jobs. I interviewed for all those positions. So there's certain things that they ask in each field. So if it's more technical and you're doing cyber analyst work where you're looking at you're monitoring traffic, they're going to ask you like ports, basic port information. They're going to ask you TCP/IP questions. They're going to ask you stuff like that you should know as a cyber analyst. Risk management framework, they're going to ask you things like, can you deal with difficult customers? That's because they have difficult customers most of the time, by the way. They're going to ask you, can you work with a team? Because you'll be working with a team. They're going to ask you, do you know the risk management framework process? Oh, you do? Okay, well, what do you do in this part of the process? Do you know cybersecurity framework, right? What can you describe it to me? Things like that. What did you do as an information system security officer? Stuff like that is what they're going to ask you. Okay, let me see. Somebody added to this conversation. They said, you're right about scrub opportunities. 2 projects, just doing plan of action and milestone remediation and audit coordination for ISSOs. Mama Force says, thank you so much. Okay, you're welcome, by the way. All right, I'm going to the next topic here. Let me see. The question is, Nee Abbey, how you doing, sir? It says, what's your thoughts on system engineering? I just got an offer. I just got an offer for a system engineering position with no experience, and they are willing to train me. Many years ago, I also had a great opportunity to do system engineering. From what my understanding was at the time, mainly it was a very technical program manager. It was a very, very technical program manager is what they wanted me to do. So my position would have been a system engineer. I'm just speaking from my experience, Abby, and telling you my opinion about it. So I hope this helps. I hope this perspective helps you out. I don't have an answer for it. I've never been a system engineer. I've been an information system security engineer, but never a system engineer. But I was offered many years, maybe 15 years ago. Wow, I'm dating. Wow, time flies, man. It was probably about 10 years ago, and I got offered. I was a information system security officer working for, I believe, SAIC was the company, and they were offering some of us contractors to move over to the GS position. I was going to go from there to a civilian GS position, and pay would be lower, but they were going to train me. They were going to send me to a very prestigious college. I think it was George Washington University, which I found out like Colin Powell went there or something. Like all these huge military dudes went there. And I was like, damn, they're going to give me a master's degree, paid for, 100% paid for. And then after that, I'd be a GS 14 or something. It wasn't bad. I really had to do some soul searching for that one. And I started looking into it. And the system engineers from the organization I worked with at the time, they were very smart guys, but the work they had them doing was more like coordinating with contractors. Right? They had to know their stuff. Like they had to know enough about systems to know what if contractors were BSing them or not. Right? So they really had to know their stuff. So they were very smart dudes. They were like, some of them had like double E's. They had electrical engineering degrees, and like they were very smart dudes. But I just noticed the work they were doing wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. Right? So I guess like looking back on hindsight being 2020, I guess my takeaway from it is it depends on the position itself, right? It depends on what you want to do. Number one, like what you want to do, and if it aligns with what they want. At the time, what they were wanting me to do, I saw the position. I worked with a lot of the guys who worked there and stuff like that. It wasn't for me. They were very smart, and everybody respected them so much and everything, which was great. But it wasn't something I want. I wanted to remain as a security technical kind of guy. At the time, I was an ISSO, and I had to know this one system we had and everything. It wasn't for me. So at the time, like now, I probably would have taken it. I'm a little older now, and stuff. That's my opinion. I really don't know. I wish I could tell you more, Abby. I just, that's my experience. It depends on my answer to you would be, does what their position, does that one align with what you want to do? And if so, go for it, yeah, go for it. Okay, let me see. Somebody said project management roles are not for me. I understand that. Okay, I had some other questions here, but let me see if I can start my stuff on Facebook here. Last week, what I did was I had Facebook going, and I kind of just forgot this time, which is unfortunate. I am starting up Facebook. Wow, this is just a pain. Man, Facebook is not my favorite, guys. It's not my favorite. Give me a second. Bear with me. This shouldn't take but a minute. Starting a live on Facebook before I start this next group of questions. trying to put out a lot more content. I've noticed people really like it, but I don't have the reach that I need to be successful. So I'm trying to do different things to expand on getting out there. You know what I mean? And to do that, I need to do stuff like Facebook. I can't be biased. I gotta get with meta. Get with the meta sickness. Down with the meta sickness. All right. Dang. What in the... Go live. 4, 3, 2. Okay, if you guys are watching, I'm on Facebook right now, live. I don't know if that's your preferred platform, but I'm on there. So, just to let you know, we're talking about cybersecurity and how to get into the field. We're talking a little bit about risk management framework. We're answering questions. It's kind of a free-flowing kind of session that we're doing here today. And we're going to talk about this next question. Let me see if I can find a good one here. Somebody says, Devron says, as a risk management framework ISSO, how important is it to know all of the 853 controls verbatim? That's a great question. So, yeah, that sounds like a legit question. Yeah, that's a legit question if you're new to this field. Let me show you. What I want to do right now is bring up the actual some of the actual controls here so you guys can understand what Devron's talking about. So what I'm going to do is show you the families of controls, and so you can get an idea what he means. He's referring to the NIST 800. The NIST 800. Oh wow. Okay. He's referring. Okay, give me a second here, guys. I don't know what happened here. I'm trying to show you the NIST. See, this is what happens when I'm on multiple platforms. Chaos ensues. And I apologize for this. So the browser that I had open just crashed on me. It's all right. We're going to fix this. We're going to fix this real quick. NIST 800 security controls. There's a really cool site that I always go to show controls, and I'm just bringing it up right now for the Facebook folks. There we go. And I'm looking for the family of controls. I think this is it right here. It's a really good site. It breaks everything down, has the most current ones because they've been changing these quite a bit in the last couple years as they've transitioned from 853 Rev 4 to Rev 5. There's like hundreds of controls, and so that's what Devron is referring to. And he's wanting to know, do you have to know these controls verbatim? And here's the control families right here. There's about 20 of them, right? And I can just give you a couple examples. AT awareness. Does your organization train for security awareness, right? Do you have records for it? What do you have going on? So when you click into this, these are the controls that your organization is supposed to meet. So for example, you have to have a policy that explains what's going on with here's how our organization trains. We train annually, we train semi-annually, whatever, right? You're supposed to make sure, and then AT2 is literacy training. Like, are you actually doing the training? If an assessor goes to your organization, can they just randomly walk up to someone and say, hey, have you done this training before? Right? The answer should be yes. Yes, I did it. I did it 3 weeks ago, I think. We did a phishing awareness, suspicious email training. They do these like every 3 months or so, right? Do you have role-based training? Like this is specifically for like if you're in the role of a privileged user, you're in the role of a system admin, you're a domain system admin, whatever the case may be. Do you have training specifically for that? Do you have training records? right? So these are security controls. They're not all super technical. Like your super technical ones would be probably IA controls. That's identification and authentication controls. That's your multi-factor authentication. That's making sure that you have identifier management. You have authentication, the authenticator management. You have the proper cryptographic modules that are in place protecting your keys. So you have very technical controls and you have very operational controls. There's hundreds of these. Because if you go to, let me give you let me show you why there's hundreds. Because if you go deeper, you'll see that this IA4 breaks out even further. You've got IA41, 42, 43, 45, 46, all the way up to what, 49? And some of them go higher than that. So you literally have hundreds of controls. The question that Devron's asking is, how important is it to know all? Do you need to know all the controls? The answer is no. Like you should have an idea of the families. I don't know these. I've been doing this for 20 years. They've changed these like four or five times since I've been doing it. They've changed this many times, right? These things change every few years. They add things, they subtract things. It's basically trying to keep up with technology, right? So you're going to have things like cloud technology is eventually at some point going to have its own control if it doesn't already. I don't even know. See, I don't even know if it has its own security control. I know that FedRAMP has some controls that kind of focus in on stuff like cloud technologies. But eventually, you're going to have stuff for blockchain. So they'll change, they'll add stuff there too. The answer is no. You don't have to know all these. What I would encourage you to know, though, is the families. You should have some idea of the families. Like there's 20 of these. So that if you're happen to be in a meeting and somebody says, hey, where's SA2 at, right? And you should know, okay, well, SA2 has to do with, that's like system and services acquisition, right? I know, I have an idea what that's all about, the whole family. I would know the families at least, right? Even if you don't deal with them day to day, I would at least know that, have some idea of the families. If somebody says SI controls, I have some idea of what that one is, right? Even if off the top of my head, some of them I know them, like I'd use them so often I know them off the top of my head, right? I have an idea of where it is and stuff. But no, you don't have to know all these verbatim. There's literally hundreds of them. They evolve from time to time. I've been doing this for 20 years. I don't know them off the top of my head. Sometimes there'll be one I was really familiar with, and they withdrew it and they replaced it and merged it with some other one or something. So no, you don't have to know them verbatim. It says, or is it important to understand how to meet the controls? It's more important to know. It's more important to be able to interpret the controls. When you go here to this page, or if you go to NIST 853, it's what you're going to have to do. Sometimes what I'll have to do is, let me just give you an example. I'll go to, let's say, IR controls. That's incident response, right? I have some idea of how this is supposed to work. But if they say, look, we had an audit, we had an assessment, and they're saying that we're not meeting, let's say IR5, and I'll be like, IR5, man, what is that, right? I know that's incident response. What is it? I'll refer to the 853. I either go to this site, or I'll download 53, or I'll bring it up from my desktop and I'll read it. I'll be like, okay, I remember now. Okay, I've done this one before, right? I've done this before. I remember this. It's incident monitoring. Track incidents and collect and analyze. So it's more important to understand and interpret this, because that's what they're really paying you for. To be honest with you, to read this stuff, sometimes it just sounds like nonsense. The way they talk in these things, unfortunately, it's not. It's almost like lawyer speak or something, and that's very confusing. So that said, sometimes you have to read it. I have to read this stuff 2 or 3 times to understand. I'm like, okay, well, how does the organization meet this? So my job as an ISSO is to interpret it, to see how effective the organization is implementing that particular control, if they're doing it at all, right? And then I have to have the guts to go to them and say, you guys we're not doing this one, and here's why I believe we're not doing it, right? Or go to my peers and say, hey, I don't think we're doing IR5. I don't think we're doing it. And they'll be like, yeah, we are. We're doing IR5. IR5 is incident response, right? No, we're doing incident response, but I don't know that we're monitoring. And here's why. Here's my interpretation of this, right? You go to your peers, you bounce the ideas off of them if you have peers in here, and hopefully you do. But if you don't, sometimes it's up to you to say, you got to go to the managers, you got to go to the C-level execs and say, I don't think we're, you don't have to stress yourself out about it. You're just letting them know in an email so that when they get dinged for it or lose their certification and they're coming to you talking about, hey, why didn't you tell us about IR5? You're like, I did last year, and here's the email. Remember I sent this to you guys? I said, we're not doing it. And that was my interpretation. Yeah, it's documented. So, yeah, the most important thing is not to know all the security controls. You just need to know how to interpret them, right? And it's all here. Sometimes you got to read it 2 or 3 times because the way that it's like lawyer speak or something. So, and sometimes what I'll do is this: if I can't interpret it here, let me show you a little trick. So let's say I go to the site, and this is pulling directly from 53, right? And I'm like, man, this is kind of thin. This is not really explaining enough for me. This is document the incident, monitor records. Okay, all right. I'm not fully understanding this, right? Let me show you my screen. You're not seeing my screen right now. Go to NIST 853. That's one good reference. I'll bring my screen up in a second. Bear with me. And then you can go to NIST 800. So what I'll do is use several different sources to figure it out, right? If 853 is not explaining it well enough, here's a really good, I'm going to show you a couple of good sources here. Hold on a second. Switch my screen here. So let's say you went to 800, you went to this site here, and you're like, this is kind of thin. It says, okay, incident monitoring, track incidents, collect and analyze incidents. Okay, is this it? That seems kind of thin. Like, is this all we do? We just got to make sure we're tracking each incident and we're collecting it. That means documentation. Could you give me more? It's automated. Okay, discussion. Automated mechanism for tracking incidents. All right, so we're supposed to have some method, some kind of automated system that tracks this. And do they mean like I need more information? Because what we have is, say we have ServiceNow. ServiceNow takes the tickets. When incident happens, we put it into ServiceNow. That automatically goes out to the incident response team. That's how we track it, right? Maybe that, but I don't know. Are we doing what? Are we meeting the spirit of this control? Are we doing it? I don't know. Okay, so what you can do is you go to 853, right, and download the actual 853, because a lot of times 853 will have more information for you. This actually should be your first source, to be honest with you. 853 it's a catalog of all the security controls. It's very exhaustive. It's you're not going to read this cover to cover, right? You're going to use it as a reference. Incident if I could spell incident response. Okay, here, check this out. So incident response, boom, IR1, and then I'll go down to IR5, right? IR5 should have more information, hopefully, on this particular finding. Look at this. It has a little bit more, has references. I mean, it has a lot. It's really the same stuff, but it has some more references I could use. It pretty much says the same thing here, automated collection. No further information, though, right? But it has these other references. If I want, I can go here. Another place you can go is 812. I notice a lot of people don't talk about this one, but this right here is it's like a very simple breakdown of security. It's just an introduction of information security. So if I wanted to know incident response, boom, incident response. This has a very high level view of what's expected of incident response, and you can see it actually hints at another place to go, 861, which is Computer Security Incident Handling Guide. Boom. So that tells you even more information. This is how I research these controls. This is how I do it. I just showed you exactly my thought process of how I actually do this. I don't know them all off the top of my head. I don't. They change a lot. There's hundreds of them. The way that they write it is not like commons. It's not layman's terms. It's a lot of cross-reference speak. You know, you could tell some PhD wrote it or something. But the thing is, I'm not talking to PhDs when I go into a meeting. I'm talking to the system administrator guy who doesn't know the psychobabble cybersecurity PhD speak that these guys use in this book. You know, so I have to talk at their level. I have to talk to them. I have to talk to the managers. The managers aren't speaking like these guys. I have to explain it in layman's terms. If I'm talking to the C-level exec, it's the same thing. I have to explain it to them in their language, which means I have to be able to interpret it for them. That's the most important thing to being an ISSO when you're dealing with security controls. You're interpreting the controls and seeing if your organization meets the spirit of those controls. That's what you're doing. All right. I hope that answers your question. I'm going to go to the next question here. Bruce, it's me again. This is Mama 4. He says, how important to have a LinkedIn account? And please, can you help me build mine? Yes. I know you are super busy, but I appreciate your help. Okay, so there's a couple things I can do, Mama 4. First of all, let me switch my screen so I don't accidentally show you guys some private stuff that I don't want shared. Let me go ahead and switch this up. All right, so somebody asked me about their LinkedIn. LinkedIn has gotten very important if you're trying to get connected with the community, with jobs and things like that. If you're looking for a position, if you're advertising yourself, one of the most important things you can do is get on LinkedIn. It's one of the biggest sites for jobs, and they just did a great job of making a social media job type site. That's what it is. Very, very good site. Definitely want to be one of your go-to places to go when you're building out your resume and you're marketing yourself. It's one of the biggest ones I talk about. The first one, I believe, is the first one I talk about when I'm marketing on my marketing course. If you guys didn't know, if you just seeing this video for the first time, my name is Bruce. I do cybersecurity specifically for compliance. A lot of people don't talk about. There's a couple guys out there who talk about it. I speak to it in layman's terms. I say you can get into this career field if you want to. If you happen to already be an IT guy, cybersecurity, compliance pays very well. You have to deal with people, so it's gonna have some stress with it. But I tell you how to market yourself. I do all this stuff on my site called Convocourses. If you're interested, there's a link in the description below. If not, that's cool. You can just go on my site and get this stuff for free. I'm okay with that too. I just want to help people out. That's my main mission in life. Help people out. You help people out, the universe or whatever it is finds a way to help you out too. And I always appreciate that. So I'm building up my own karma. This is a very selfish act I'm doing. I'm helping you so I can help myself. All right. Let me show you how I do this. What you're looking at now is my LinkedIn screen. Let me switch this up on this is my LinkedIn, right? If you guys are interested, just search Bruce Brown, Risk Management Framework. I'm sure I'll come right up. Bruce Brown, CISSP, RMF. Join me. And we'll connect. I don't always have time to, I'll go through every now and then. I'll just do this mass connect with people all at once. So connect with me. Eventually, I'll connect back with you. Well, let me switch my screen. Sorry about that. Yeah, there it is right there, LinkedIn. So let me just explain to you what I do. Now, if you are interested, I have a whole course on this. It breaks all this stuff down. It goes part by part. It's called Cybersecurity Marketing. It's a very good one of my best, in my opinion, one of my best courses, because this has worked for me for years. Fill out every part. Let me just explain, okay? Fill out every freaking part of this thing. Don't leave anything out. Fill out every part of this. Every part of this thing. That's it. That's it. Fill out every part of it. How do you do it? You want to put this picture. You want to put a picture up here. You want to put a little picture of yourself here. You want to Fill out what schools you've gone to, where you're working currently. You want to keep it up to date. You want to put lots of keywords in there. That's one of the main things I talk about in my course. But here you go. Fill out every part of this. Look at this. This is new. Pronouns. He, him. Put that in there too. Don't leave anything out. I don't care how you feel about it. You don't want to put your school in there. Put your school in there. You don't like the whole gender thing, he, him. Put it in there anyway. Who cares what you think? Who cares? You're trying to get a job, right? Get a job. Fill out every part of this thing. Every part. Put your school in there. I notice a lot of people do not fill this thing out. And then they ask me why they're not getting a job. Fill this thing out. Look how many people contact me. I got 99. I don't know if you can see this. I got 99 notifications. This is from people trying to contact me about jobs. It's still loading. It's so many. It's still loading. Okay, I don't have time for that. So I have so many offers and so many people contacting me on LinkedIn because I filled my whole thing out. Fill this thing completely out, Mama 4. That's what you do. Fill it completely out. Fill out this whole thing. There's a couple tricks here. I'll show you a couple tricks. Okay, so one of the tricks is when you fill this part out. Let me see if I can show you this part right here. Where is it? Edit contact information. There's like one part that's really, headline. See this headline part? Like a lot of people don't fill this out. Like this headline part is important. Put your best skills up here. I put my best skills up here in headline. All these keywords, right? It used to be ArcSight. I haven't done ArcSight in a long time. Diacap, people used to hit me up all the time about Diacap. This is actually really outdated, but sometimes people still contact me about this. Put all your best keywords in here. Risk Management Framework, RMF. If you have a CISP, you have a Security Plus, put it up here. All I did was just list them all out. Every single one of them. What else can you do? There's another. I'm looking for another trick that you can do here. There's a really good one, and I'm trying to find for you. So when you do the headline, that comes right up under your name. Right there. See that? Copy. Okay, you follow me on LinkedIn. Good. Copy what I'm doing. Look at what I'm doing and copy exactly what I'm doing. You know what? Another thing you can do. There's a couple. Let me just show you a couple other tricks. About. Okay, look. This is one of them right here. Go to about right here. Put every keyword you could possibly think of in here. Right. You only have a limited amount. I think you have up to 2,000 or something. Right. You have up to 2,000 things you could put characters or words in there. And if you're looking for a remote position, put it in there. If you have certifications, put them in there. The reason why you want to put keywords in there is because the algorithm itself. Let me talk to you for a second. This is really important. If you take nothing else from what I'm telling you, from this, right? So LinkedIn, Indeed.com, Dice, you want to be on all those. Monster, those are some of the best, right? Not just LinkedIn. Like most of my jobs come from Monster, to be honest with you. Put your resume on all of them. The more saturation, the more places your resume is loaded, the more you're marketing yourself. The more people see you, the more people are liable to click and put your resume has to be good, okay? You need to put keywords in there. If you've done risk management framework, you need to put things like NIST 837, NIST 853. If you're familiar with those, FIPS 199, right? Here's how I've worked with these things. Those are all keywords for what you do. Continuous monitoring. Put keywords in there. And the reason why is because when you put the keywords in there, the algorithm is looking for these keywords. The recruiters, the technical recruiters are looking for specific keywords that if it's not in your resume, they will never find you. Now, the next question you should ask yourself is, well, Bruce, how do I find keywords? How do I do that? How do if you're a risk management framework, you can just look at my resume. I've got a ton of keywords in there. I got a ton. Fill out all of your work experience. I notice a lot of people don't do that. Put all your work experience in there. Okay. But another way that you can find keywords is look at other people's resume. Look at other people's resume. It'll be all over their resumes. Let me show you what I mean here. Show you the handy dandy search feature on LinkedIn. So if I go to LinkedIn and I'm searching for let's see, RMF. I don't know. RMF is a keyword. I'm looking for people. See, I search people, companies, and then groups and jobs, right? So ISSO, here's some jobs right here. That's cool. But what we're looking for is keywords. So see how this guy came up number 1? That means his ranking is pretty good. See how it already has keywords in there? Not just RMF, but he has NIST RMF. He has cybersecurity. He has CISSP. That's a keyword. So let's say you don't have a CISSP. You could put working on CISSP. You could put that in there. You know? And then what you do is look at this guy's resume. Why is he coming up on top? Why? Why is that? Look at what he put in here. Look at these keywords. He has the about page. He has EMAS, Exacta. He has all kinds of keywords. This guy he's keyword rich. He filled out all of his experience. Look at this. This is a really good resume. This is a really, really well done resume. He filled the whole thing out. He's got tons of keywords all over the place in this thing. That's what you want to do. Here's another trick. Oh, that's really cool. That's really smart. Look at this. Independent RMF contractor. No, that's not owner. Look at this. He made a risk management security group. What's to stop you from doing a risk management security group? And then you could put you're the owner of the risk management security group. And you do research. I'm not telling you to lie or anything. Like, you should actually do that if you want to do it. But that's really cool. He's the owner of the risk management framework security group. And he just puts all the stuff he did in the security group. I mean, that's brilliant. That's really smart. Like, you could just make your own community and then put your own keywords in there. Damn, that's really smart. I'll have to use that trick. Anyway, that's how you gather keywords. You steal them from other people. I'm not telling you to lie, but I'm just telling you the keyword. You're using certain words on your resume that are not keywords. Steal the keywords from other people. Like, maybe you're spelling out the whole word risk management framework, right? You want to probably use RMF, and then you want to use variations because there's different keywords. Not everybody's just going to type risk management framework. Some people are going to type NIST RMF or just RMF or just NIST 837. Like, use every variation. That's what this guy did. That's why he's coming up number 1 on that search. Number 1 on the search. That means something on this thing. That means when somebody's looking for somebody to hire, he's coming up number 1. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. So I had some other stuff I wanted to talk about. I had some other questions that people asked me. I'm going to see if I can find those questions real quick. Bear with me here as I switch gears. Man, I really need a mouse, man. This is ridiculous. Man, lately this thing's been crashing on me. I lost my screens. I had everything all prepped and it just crashed. I don't know what's up with that. What is up there? I probably need to do a reboot on this thing or something. That's probably what it is. Okay, let's see if I can. Wow, took all my screens out. Everything prepped, ready to go. What a pain. Okay, bear with me, guys. I had some other questions that people had asked me that I had ready to go. I'm trying to bring those up again after this little crash I just had. I see you guys asking me more questions. I appreciate that. Okay, here it is right here. If you guys have any questions, feel free. I'll be on here for a little bit longer. risk management framework questions. If there's something that you can't ask me here live, email me. I get a lot of emails sometimes, so just be patient. Be patient. Okay. Okay, we kind of already talked about this one. Should I cover this again? I feel like I already talked about that one. Maybe I'll cover that last. Okay. Yeah, I'll kind of get the same questions over and over again. So I'm going to answer this next question here. That's talking about positions. And I really had this prepped, man. I had this ready to go. Had the screens up and everything. Anyway, okay, let's just roll with the punches here. Somebody asked me, they said, I have a degree, a bachelor's degree of police academy in the European Union country, and Academy of European Union country. Okay. I do this work from 2010. Okay. I would like to know what work you're doing. Is it physical security work and he goes on to say, I have a level 2 degree in software development. I have done a course or a diploma in IT and cybersecurity. And is it a good idea to take a master's of security? And I want to work with the UK police. Do they need people for this job? Will they recognize my degrees and certifications? So I would really need, I probably have to respond to this guy directly on comments. Now that I'm really reading this, I would have to really know more information on this one. I don't know if he's asking if he wants a job in the U.S., because I don't really know the European market. But I'm assuming that he or she is looking for something in the EU, in EU countries, and I'm assuming that they have some level of IT experience, and I'm assuming they have a lot of physical security experience. So that being said, it's a lot of assumptions on my part because I just don't know a lot. I need to ask him more questions. But that said, what I would do is I would make sure my resume included all of my security experience, specifically my IT security experience. He says he has a degree in software engineering, in IT and cybersecurity. So I'm assuming that there's some kind of experience that they have here. If you have this experience, you have to list it on your resume, you guys call it a CV, I believe. And then physical security too, that counts. Like if you've ever done a physical security check on a important facility, then that actually will count towards your experience. I'll put that on there too. Now, one place that you can go if you're international, if you're worldwide, no matter what country you're at, Indeed, Career Builder, LinkedIn, all of them have some sort of an international, some kind of international page you can go to. So let's say, like, I'm on LinkedIn worldwide. It's called linkedin.com/worldwide, and that's where I'm getting all of these countries, all these countries right here, all over. Now he said he's EU, so I'm gonna assume he is in, I don't know, Finland. What's a good one? Germany. Germany's an easy one for me to do. Maybe I'll do, okay, let's say it's Germany. So, okay, it's all in German, number one. So maybe this wasn't the best one to choose. So go to one of these sites here for whatever country you're in, and then apply for the position. Now, that said, you need to have your resume tight first. The very first thing, have your resume tight, and then go to one of these sites. Let me see if I can find another one, since that's all German. It's all in German. Well, they're all going to be in their respective languages now, aren't they? Finland. Let's see. Yeah, this is in Finnish. So, yeah, this is not going to help me very much. Let me see. Maybe it will. Cyber security for Finland. we're just going to go ahead and search. And yeah, look at that. A security specialist trainee. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty cool. Actual jobs there. So touch up your resume, add everything you need, go to one of the international aggregators, go to several of them, as a matter of fact. Whatever country you're in, search for the top, use all the top 10 aggregators, all the top 10 job sites, and get your resume on every one of them. Every one of them, and apply. Your question was, though, do they need people in this job? Cybersecurity always needs people. Cybersecurity needs all kinds of people in every vertical, in every industry. We need people. It's overwhelming, actually. We don't have enough people in here. So the answer is yes. Will they recognize my degree or certification? Now, I'm assuming you're talking about if you come to the U.S. It depends on the industry. Yes. So most of the IT certifications are international, right? Your CISSP, your CISA, your CompTIA, your Security Plus, all those certificates. Now, the ones that you took from those colleges, I don't know about the certificates. I don't know if those count, but the degrees will. If you have a bachelor's degree from another country that's for IT or cybersecurity, the answer is yes. If it's an accredited college, yes, they absolutely will. And the reason I know that is because I work with a lot of international folks, and they had degrees from other countries, from Ghana, from UK, from all over the world, and they accept their degree. As a matter of fact, I work with a couple dudes from Ireland, dude from, I don't know. I've worked for guys in Australia. They take all those. So just needs to be an accredited college. You've got to have experience. They look at experience first, then they look at your degree, then they look at certifications. That's kind of the pecking order of how it goes. So I hope that answers your question. I probably need to ask more because I don't know. I'm kind of guessing, right? It's guesswork on my part. I'm not sure, like, if you're trying to come here or if you're staying there. I'm not sure. So I guess I need to ask more questions. Okay, somebody else asked me, I've been trying to do this. They're talking about do a reverse image search. And so dating site detective work is what I call this one. So somebody is doing a reverse image search on a picture of somebody they met on a dating site. This is from a video I did a while ago about how to do an image search, how to find out if somebody's a scammer or not. You can find it out. But I'm going to show you a couple other tips that you can use if you happen to be on a dating site and you happen to want to know if somebody's a scammer or whatever. It's not just reverse searches you can do. There's some other stuff that you can do that really works well, and I'm going to tell you guys about that. So their question was, I did the reverse search. All I'm seeing is women's pictures of women's clothing sites, the pictures belonging to random people if it's on Facebook, how do I find that, right? If somebody, so a lot of times what scammers do, what he's talking about is a lot of times what scammers do is they'll take pictures from Instagram or they'll take pictures from Facebook, like a random person who's not that famous, if they're smart. And then they'll take that picture, they'll put that in the profile, and then they'll do like a fake bio or whatever. And that's how they try to get people. So the question is, if you can't reverse search it there, what do you do? Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you what you can do. There's a few things. So what you can do is reverse search all their images, number one. Number one, any picture that they have on the site, not just the profile, any pictures. Normally they put up like 4 or 5 pictures, right? Take every one of those pictures and do a reverse image search on it. Every one. And then reverse search it on that's a really good one. It's called Yandex. Yandex.ru. It's a Russian search engine. It's one of the best reverse search engines I've ever seen. It's as good or better than Google. Bing's not that good. I don't know. DuckDuckGo, that's not that good. The top ones that I always get results, some kind of results, if it's out there, is Google and Yandex.ru. So those are really awesome searches. Not to say you can't use the other ones, Yahoo or whatever, but those are the best ones. Use every picture in their profile, all of them, not just the main profile picture, all of them. If they send you pictures, reverse search those too. They say, hey, this is my house. Check out my house. I'm rich, Reverse search their house too. One time I found somebody who had told me, hey, look, here's my house. I'm like, this is your house? It's a multi-million-dollar house, right? And they said it was in one part of the country, but it's actually when I did a reverse search on it, it's in another part of the country. I'm like, yo, this is fake. This is fake. So yeah, reverse search all the images they send you. Here's another really big one. Search their freaking name in Facebook. The name that they're putting in there. Sometimes, here's the reason why. Sometimes what they do is they'll have a fake a name on there, and then they'll have like a dummy Facebook or Instagram account with the same face there to show that they're legitimate. So what you want to do is take that name that they put in to the dating site and search it in Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. Search it everywhere, not just on Google. Definitely search it on Google too. Another thing you can do, this one works. This one has nailed it a couple times for me. Take their email, especially if you're already talking to them on WhatsApp or if you've emailed them or somehow get their email. Take their email and put that in the Facebook, Instagram. I don't know if it'll work on Instagram, but Facebook, put their email in Facebook and search their email on Google. And then that can also find it. Look for not just all their images, look for search their name, search their names in Google and Facebook and their email. Trust but verify. That's what you're trying to do. Trust but verify. So I hope that answers that question. I'm going to go to the next question. This was a really good question, I thought, from last week. And they asked me, this is dealing with low or no stress cybersecurity jobs. Do they exist? Is it possible to find an information system security job that isn't completely draining? That is a great question. The reason why that's a great question is because cybersecurity can be pretty stressful. Why? There's not a lot of us doing this work, so there's a lot of scope creep. Sometimes the organization, what they'll do is they'll overpromise, and then they compensate by overworking the people that's there. It's really annoying. Another thing is that with information system security officer work, I know a lot of guys who I talk to who are IT guys, pure IT guys, and then they switch over to security compliance, and they hate it. They hate it. And the reason why is because you have to deal with all kinds of people. Difficult people who don't know anything about IT, people who think they know about IT, but they want to tell you how to do your job, or they want to tell you, they think they know everything, so you can't tell them anything. You have to deal with each one. You've got to navigate all these different kinds of people. Like if you're working on just a router and a network, how many people are you talking to if you're in a clean room? You know what I mean? If you're working in a comm closet, right, all day long, working with wires or something, you don't have to work with people that much. It's actually pretty refreshing. But when you have to work with people a lot, you got to deal with a lot of different attitudes, and it's very stressful sometimes. So the question is there an information system security or a security job, cybersecurity job period, that's not so completely draining? And the answer is yes. I've had a few jobs like this, and I just wanted to share with you guys my experience with these types of jobs and how you can kind of find them. So let me show you. Let me show you kind of what I put together here. I've worked these jobs before, and what I noticed is three things. Either they're small organizations with dealing with low to medium impact systems. Like the systems aren't going to, if the system goes down, nobody's going to die, right? It's not going to cause a national security incident if the system goes down. Another one is they're usually well organized. Like I work with organizations that are not small organizations. They do work on very important projects, but they're very well organized and they don't allow scope creep. They'll hire more people. If there's a problem and they know they don't try to overtax their people by throwing 15 different hats on the same dude, or putting all the pressure on their smart, hardworking people, right? Which is a lot of organizations do, unfortunately. They'll hire more people in. They'll hire more people because they're like, okay, well, why do we're not greedy. We're okay with hiring more people, right? Some organizations, they won't hire anybody, and because it's going to affect their money. So they just keep putting more hats on people, making people do more work, which sucks. And then great companies, I noticed, will not overpromise clients. That is a big one. That's a big one. So if you're looking for a cybersecurity job with low or no stress, look for one of these things. Small organizations with low impact systems, you can ask them that on the interview. Like, what kind of systems do you guys have? Do you guys have like very important systems with the Department of Defense, or do you guys have like low impact systems? What kinds of systems will I be dealing with, and how many systems will you give me? Right, that's another big one. So small organizations, they usually take care of their people better too. People aren't a number yet, like your Northrop Grumman's, your Lockheed, your SCICs. They're so huge, everybody's just a number, right? These are multi-billion-dollar international companies. You're just a number to them. They'll replace you in 3 seconds if you leave. The other one is well-organized roles. They don't allow scope creep. Everybody has a role. They don't allow you to have multiple hats. So if you do, you have maybe 2 hats. They don't keep putting hats on you, and they don't try to overburden the people who do all the work, the smart guys. And then great companies, they don't usually overpromise clients, I've noticed. So I've worked for a couple good ones that had low or no stress, or stress comes every now and then, but it wasn't that bad, right? It was manageable. But I've also had the opposite, where there's too much work. They have real difficult clients that they're not dealing with effectively. They're in a bad situation where the contract is like they're giving Cadillac service, and then they're paying they're giving Pinto service, and they're it's like they made the contract dollars very low, but they're having us do way more work for very low contract money. And then they're not allowing us to do more because they don't have the money. They didn't get the contract going. So it's a real difficult situation when that happens. Really difficult. Because you want to please the client, but it's like if the company doesn't have the money to do it, it's very stressful, because then the client starts getting pissed off that you're not meeting their requirements or whatever, or not well enough, and you can't give them extra hours because the contract doesn't allow it. So that's a pain. But yeah, you can find low, no stress jobs. I've had them before where the stress is very little. Okay, I'm going to switch gears here and answer a couple more questions. Somebody asked me, in your experience, what is the relationship between an ISSE, an ISSO, and ISSM? So let me see if I can answer this question. I kind of went over this one last week, I believe, but I could cover it again. I've done all these positions, and so first of all, what are these? So Information System Security Officer, an Information System Security Engineer, and an Information System Security Manager. What are the differences between these three? It kind of depends on the organization, how they define them, and what kind of tasks they give them. But in my experience, the Information System Security Officer is normally somebody who does a lot of documentation, a lot of meetings, a lot of coordination with SMEs. They're inputting a lot of security, and they do need to know their stuff, because every now and then security issues come up, and they have to be able to articulate those security issues with your C-level execs, your managers. They have to be very good communicator, right? The ISSO. The ISSO is underneath the Information System Security Manager. The Information System Security Manager is usually in charge of 2 or 3 or maybe a whole floor of security people. He's a manager or she's a manager who has multiple Information System Security Officers underneath them. So they're normally, I worked for some very, very smart ISSMs, but they don't really, their skill set really has to be in management, because they're not going to be in the weeds on stuff. They're not really going to be sitting in on meetings with technical meetings and stuff like that, unless everything's already concluded, right? I mean, they come in to get informed, and then they take that back to the C-level execs or whatever. So they don't normally have to do the in-weed stuff. So they're a manager. That's the difference between those two. One is an operator. They're on the floor in the weeds. The other one is a manager who has 2 or 3 different people under them. They're doing things like your time card, your I don't know, your evaluation for the year, and your, stuff like that. Stuff that that's the relationship between those two. The ISSE, okay, the Information Security Engineer. So this one's tricky because I've done this twice, and it was different each time. So one time, it basically wasn't any different from an information security officer. I did all the same things. I would go to sites. Here was one difference. They had me doing our assessments. I'd do site technical evaluations where I would go to. We had like maybe 5 sites, and they would fly me. I'd go there and I'd do the evaluation. I'd run the script to do the scan and stuff like that, and then I would take that data back and I'd have to analyze that data. It was a little bit more hands-on. Like I had to log into the system. It was like a Unix system. Log in, okay. Check all the users on there. Make sure there's no erroneous users. Okay, does that check out against this list? Okay, let me run this network scan. It's like a little script that would run and look at all the nodes that are connected to this computer and stuff. It was a little bit more technical. And then another position I did also was a little bit more technical, where I was implementing some of the security controls. And then I would have to talk to the architect. Like I would have to talk to the guys who were in charge of like putting the network together. I'd have to talk to the network team a little bit. I'd have to talk to, it was documentation, but it was also like sitting into the very technical meetings. So I would say the difference between the relationship between them is that information security officer is managed by the information security manager, and there's a separate field called the information security engineer, which does a lot of what the information security officer does, but they would have me do technical stuff. That was my experience with the roles, and that can vary from organization to organization how they classify the tasks. Because I've done ISSO work where I also did technical stuff, but usually I was doing mostly documentation and meetings and stuff. So I hope that answers your question. Let me see here. Somebody said, frankly, I really enjoy very much the governance side of cybersecurity. Running SARS, which is a security assessment reports, and PMO or ad hoc projects is pretty fun and easy. Once I established myself, it became a breeze. Yeah, that's it's once you know it, it's just, I don't know, it becomes like riding a bike, right? I mean, it's very easy to do. I can agree with that, Anthony. I agree with that. Let me see. Cyber job, little or no stress. Devron said, cyber job with little or no stress. A security operations analyst graveyard shift, LOL. I'm just telling you my experience. That was just, I had a couple that had very little stress. I mean, a little stress compared to what I have now these days. These days, it's pretty ridiculous. Oh, cybersecurity analyst. Cybersecurity assessment of risk. Okay, that's a new one for me. Assessment of risk. Oh, a CSA. SCA is what I've called it, of what I've heard it called. Let me see. Anthony says, agreed. Separation of duty is crucial. No scope creep. Man, amen to that. My Lord. Anthony says, if the cyber job is on the ops side, it is a ton of stress. On the governance side, it isn't. The PKIs are different. The ops side is sexy and exciting, while the governance side is pretty laid back. Yeah, that's a great point. Anthony brings up a really good point. The ops side is, You've got deadlines. You've got security incidents that happen. Like you got to take care of it now. Okay, let's isolate this system, can disconnect it from the network, get the CSERT team over here to isolate this and make sure we get this malware off the system. Who did this? I want to know right now who sent this thing out. What happened? What did they click on? Right. It can be stressful. Right. And people are blaming each other and stuff like that. It's kind of annoying. The ops side is where I'm working now, and it's actually I'm a consultant right now, and it's, oh my God, it's stressful sometimes. Man, I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it, man. I'm not loving it. It was fun at first, but now it's like they're like, this guy can do stuff. Give him more stuff. Here's more stuff. Here you go. Here's more stuff for you. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not loving it, guys. Let me see. How do you prioritize your work? Man, that's a great question. That links right into my stress. So I want to answer that one. So how do I do it? I wish I had my book here. I have like a little note. I have like a notebook every morning. What I do. I used to keep it on Evernote, but Evernote got too cumbersome. It's just easier for me to write things down. So I have this like notebook. What I do is I write down all the main tasks of the day. I have in different categories. I have my work, and I break those up into my clients. And I have all the main things. I have to go through my emails. Okay, what do we have to do right now? It's very easy to get caught up. I get an email like, okay, I got to respond right immediately. Before I respond to anything, what I do is I sit down, have my cup of tea, and I just start writing down everything I need to do for the day. Lists everything in different categories. I'll start off with, say, home life. Like, what do I need? I need to take my kid to the doctor today. Okay, what else do I need to do? I need to take out the garbage, right? Stuff like that. I need to feed the dog, cat, whatever. And then I'll go to my job. Okay, go through my emails. All right, what do I need to do today? Okay, I need to do this report. This report is due. Oh, man, I got to get this done. The client just emailed me. I'm going to respond to that. Okay, we got to get this file over to the client, blah, blah, blah. I just write all these things down, right, in different categories. And then what I do, for me, is how I prioritize. I write down, I put a Q down anything next to anything that I can do within 10 minutes. Like if it's, you know how it's like, it's a quick email, right? It's not going to take a lot of time. Because what I notice is like, I would get caught up in the high priority things, like something that's due yesterday that's going to take me an hour to do, like a report. It's due last week. It's got to be done now, but it's going to take me an hour and a half to do it. Sometimes it won't take me an hour and a half. It's going to take me 2 hours to do it. And meanwhile, all this other low-hanging fruit didn't get done. I'm at the end of the day. I've done 2 high priority things, and I didn't get any of the 10 little things done that was going to take me 10 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll put a Q by all the things that take me 10 minutes. 10 minutes or less. If it's a quick call to tell somebody, pay a bill or something, or it's a quick call or for my job, it's a quick email to the client saying, hey, no, sorry, we don't have it yet. That's it, right? I'll put a cube next to those things. And then I'll put like how much time all the other tasks take. If this one's an hour, I'll put an hour on there. If it's 2 hours, whatever it is, right? I'll put then what I do is I put an asterisk by things that need to be done immediate, like yesterday. No matter how much time they take, I'll put an asterisk by it. I start off with my cues. I go through all the things, the low-hanging fruit. Like if it takes me 5-10 minutes to do it, I just knock those out. Knock them out. Then I say, okay, what do I need to do right now? Like what are things I need to knock out right now that are due last week, and it's going to take me an hour to do it? I start on those. I start knocking those things out. The high priority asterisk things, I start knocking those out, right? What I know is somebody gave me a great analogy. They said doing cybersecurity work is kind of like, it feels like you're trying to put your pants on while somebody's punching you in the face. My old boss told me that. It's like you're trying to put your pants on, but people are emailing you, texting you, hey, man, what about this? Hey, did you get this done? You're like, dude, I'm trying to put my pants on. Like, you're trying to get that main task done, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is before I even put my pants on, I make a list of putting my pants on. And then I said, well, before I put my pants on, I'll put my shirt on first because that's quicker, you know. And nobody punches me in the face when I'm doing that. You know, I don't know. That's how I prioritize. Let me see. Let me see. Anthony says, also vital is tooling. Archer, Service Desk, Process Utilities, SharePoint, and other similar systems are where records are generated and artifacts are organized for traceability and auditability. Yeah, this kind of merges into what she was asking about. How do you prioritize it? Those tools actually are very helpful to getting things done a lot faster. Although we have so much work now that there's so many files that it doesn't even matter having tools. It doesn't even matter. Like, that's how much work I have. And then Anthony also says, most important part is to be super organized. Yeah, that's true. The more organized you are, and I'm not a very organized person. That's probably why I'm so slow. But if the more organized, I mean, basically I have to be organized, because if it's not, I lose track. I've got like maybe 100 different files I got to go through, right, on a given day. And if I don't have some kind of organization, oh my Lord, it just gets overwhelming and I get overtasked and I get stressed out. I have to organize. I have to. You have to remain organized. Like your file structure, something that you can quickly, you know where all the files are. You know it's broken out into parts and into weeks, days, months, whatever. However you organize it, it's got to be organized. Great point, Anthony. Thank you. And then Anthony also says Trello for task management. It allows me to put every type of task color coded on the digital stickies. Oh man, that's awesome. I'll have to try that. Move them through my pipeline and like a Kanban board. Oh, that's cool. For me, like, I've gotten into the habit of just writing it all down, but the task management things, that would be super helpful. Actually, that's a really good thing to try out. Reminds me of the boot camp in the Army, trying to get ready for inspection. The drill sergeant is just tearing up the room. Getting punched in the face while you're trying to put your pants on. It sucks. All right, guys, that's it for this week. I will try to do more content like this. I can see how effective this is, just having a conversation and talking to other experts like Anthony and like Ease and then like Devron, or people who are in the field. This is very helpful for people who are trying to get in this field. That's kind of what I try to focus on, as well as talking about risk management framework, is somewhere for us to talk about this kind of stuff. Appreciate everybody. Thank you guys for joining me every week. I will see you very soon.